When's the right time to increase your dose? That's a good question. And it's one I don't have the answer to. We're all so unique and different. But I think it's going to come most people's way at some stage where the current dose that they're taking is not working, or it isn't working well enough, or you're finding yourself struggling with cravings or hunger, you've got no more suppression. um, yeah, your old habits are coming back, or thoughts of your old habits are coming back. So when do you decide? When do you decide it's the right time to go up a dose? So if you've followed me for a little while, you will know that between weeks approximately 13 and 17, I was struggling with exactly that. I felt I had this idea I was going to stay on 5 milligrams all the way through my Manjaro experience. I thought it was the dose for me. When it kicked in, I thought it was great. But on reflection, it wasn't my best dose. 7.5 milligrams has been my best dose so far. It's the one I felt the most settled on. I know what to expect through the week on 7.5 milligrams. My hunger suppression is very good. I am a hyper responder, so it's very good the first few days after I take the shot, and then my hunger comes back a little bit, sort of like on the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, bearing in mind I take mine on the Thursday. So that's a pattern I've become very familiar with, and it's something that I can plan my life around, my work around, my week around. But yeah, that hasn't happened this week. I've been thrown a bit of a curveball this week. So I took the shot on Thursday morning, like I always do. Usually by Thursday afternoon, I've got quite a bit of suppression, not as much as I'll have on the Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but really good suppression. So I'm very often having a lighter dinner on a Thursday evening. So that didn't happen, but no great shakes. And then it also didn't really happen on the Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I wasn't sure if it was like I was hungry, or if I was having cravings, or if the suppression wasn't as strong. Yeah, so I was kind of like a little bit all over the place. And then the thing is, I didn't eat on Saturday. I sort of had something light in the morning, and then I had a meal in the evening. So I'd missed out a whole meal along the way. Um, and I hadn't had enough for breakfast that morning to really sort of call it like, a decent meal. So yeah, I kind of put Sunday down to that. But yeah, I've been hungry. When I say hungry, here's the dilemma. I'm not quite sure if it is hunger. I've kind of lost touch with what my old hunger used to feel like. So I feel like I could eat something at any time during the day. My tummy isn't rumbling, um, but I feel it's almost like it's that empty feeling that we used to eat for in the past, and I don't know what to do with that. So I have been, as you know, I do always tend to look at sort of like the mental aspect of it. So this week I've been kind of going, am I hungry, or am I going through something? Is there something going on? Obviously, there's stuff with work. Work hasn't been great, and I've got this trip to Chicago coming up, and so I've been thinking a lot around these things, and I've been sort of trying to work out, do, am I not eating enough protein? Which I think I am. I've been hitting about 100, 120 grams a day. Am I drinking my water? Yep, I'm trying to keep my water up. What I have done is I have upped my exercise. So I wonder if there's a little bit of backlash sort of from that maybe I am burning more calories. And and so my body's just looking for a bit more sustenance. But it's quite disconcerting. So I'm not going to lie, it is quite disconcerting, but I'm going to sit with it, and I'm going to sit with it for at least, let me see where we are. So we're at week 27. So this week 27, I can't believe it's week 27. Anyone who is just starting on this weight loss journey and they think, oh, when am I ever going to get there? Or, you're looking at somebody who's been doing it for ages. The weeks will fly by. I cannot believe it's been 6 months, like week 27 today. So I'm on week 27. So by the time I go to Chicago in 2 weeks' time, it's crazy. I'll be on week 29, going into week 30. So I'm definitely not going to even consider going up to 10 milligrams until I'm back from Chicago, which will be about week 32. Start of week 32, I think I come back. So I'm going to stick with the 7.5 milligrams, because the other thing that I know is that, like, Mounjaro does a bit of this, and some weeks the suppression is super strong, other weeks it's not quite as strong, and then the odd day you will get a hungry day. So I think what I'm trying to say is, don't panic. And I know that different people have different responses to the different levels of the medication. So when I started on 2.5 milligrams, I took it the first night. I took it at night time because they say that can help with symptoms. If you get like a sudden influx of symptoms, you can sleep some of them off. When I woke up the next morning, my hunger was gone. Other people, it doesn't kick in until they're on, like, for a month maybe, or they're on the 5 milligram, or they've gone up to the 7.5 milligram. And some people don't experience full suppression until you get up to the 10, 12.5 and 15 milligrams. So don't be surprised, and don't think it's not working for you because it hasn't kicked in like as soon as you start, or it doesn't kick in as soon as you take the shot. Anyone who follows Jimmy Gemster, she has had a bit of a reverse week. So the first couple of days after the shot, she was saying that she hasn't really had much suppression, but then her suppression has kicked in towards the end of it. So you just don't know what Mounjaro is going to do. Or semaglutide, Ozempic, Wegovy, Zepbound, tirzepatide, all of the names, whichever one you're on, you don't know how it's going to track over the week and track over the doses. So don't get too caught up in that, because for the majority of people, there are people that it doesn't work for at all. But for the majority of people, there is a right dose for you. And when you're on that dose, that's the one that you're going to sort of like be able to sort of maximize the weight loss. I've been reviewing my weight loss and I've done really well on the 7.5 milligrams. I would say for me, it's been my best dose, apart from the first one with the 2.5 milligram, where I went up straight to 5. I didn't realize you could stay on 2.5. So I shot straight up to 5 after 5 weeks. So yeah, 7.5 milligrams. I have lost, let me have a look. So I lost 6.2 pounds the first month on 7.5, 5.6 pounds the second month on 7.5, 7.8 on month 6. So weeks 23 to 26, I lost 7.8 pounds on the 7.5 milligrams. So yeah, it's been a good dose for me, and I'm happy here, and I know what to expect. Like I said, I know how my week's going to go. I can plan for it and things like that. But it is an uneasy feeling I've had these last couple of days, and I have been busy with work, and sometimes that kind of distracts you. So, you're not thinking about things, but I've just had those little tweaky thoughts. like I said, I don't want to say the C word, the craving word, but potentially I've had a couple of cravings. Um, there was one day where I was thinking about food and I was wanting something, but I didn't know what I wanted. I didn't really have a taste for something, and I just thought, oh, I'll have a packet of cheese and onion crisps. And I haven't thought that in a long time. When I have a packet of cheese and onion crisps or some chocolate, it's a very specific decision. It's like, I've had my dinner, I've had a really good day, I've got some calories left, I want something nice and enjoyable, I'm going to have a packet of crisps. Whereas this was kind of that old voice, like, I'll just have a packet of crisps while I think about what I want to eat. And that's what a lot of us used to do. We used to think, we used to eat something while we were thinking about what we wanted to eat. Or at least I did. I mean, I don't think I'm alone in that. And sometimes, I'm not going to lie, sometimes I would eat the same amount while I was thinking about what I was going to cook for dinner or cook a meal as I now eat in a meal, or as other people would eat in a meal, which is quite shocking. But that's the truth. That's how I used to eat. That's how I used to be. I used to overeat. I always had a big appetite. So I'm one of these people that can fluctuate. I can go like hours and hours and hours and hours and hours without eating. I don't get weak or hangry or anything like that. I can go ages and ages and ages without eating. And but if food is around, I used to eat it. And I used to plan meals, and I used to, bearing in mind I live by myself since my daughter moved out, I used to cook a full roast on a Sunday for me. I would eat it through the week. I wouldn't eat the whole roast, but and some people who live by themselves, they don't. They just like make some soup, or they have some cereal or things like that. But no, I'm a good cook. I enjoy good food. So yeah, I'd sometimes cook myself a roast on Sundays and just sit down, and that would be my treat, followed by other treats, usually crisps, chocolate, and the like. Yeah, and lots of it. So I think the disconcerting thing, I think, when you have a return of hunger symptoms or cravings, or not as much suppression, you get a little bit of fear, bit of alarm, that like, oh my God, has it stopped working? Am I going to go back to how I used to be? At the moment, I can say I don't think that's going to happen, because I'm loving how I feel. I'm loving the fact that I'm doing loads more exercise, and I'm enjoying it, and I'm wanting to do it. I'm enjoying that I'm not obsessed with food all the time. I'm enjoying that I'm able to control my food. So even when I was thinking about like having a packet of crisps, or the other week I wanted some KFC, I can have those thoughts, but I don't feel the need to immediately act on them, or that I'm out of control, or what's the point? I might as well just eat it anyway. I'm not having those thoughts. And at the moment, I don't think I would go back to that, even if I stopped the Mounjaro. I could be very wrong. Some of the haters out there will be like, oh, you're just going to put the weight back on. Well, newsflash, Todd. I put the weight back on when I did Weight Watchers, when I did Slimming World, when I did Atkins, when I did the Cambridge diet, when I did the grapefruit and egg diet. So I've always put the weight back on. So it would be no surprise if I put the weight back on when I suddenly stopped a weight loss medication. I'm not delusional. But what I've had this time around is I've had the break from hunger, the break from cravings, the break from food noise. Anyone who is experiencing the lack of food noise knows how big a deal that is. And you can actually think of other things. You can think of things that are important to you. You can focus on other things. And it's brought me some headspace to recognize that, like, who I am, how I want to be, what I want to do when I go, when I'm going forward, and the mistakes I've made. And I've made loads of mistakes. We all have. Everyone's made mistakes, So the weight loss medications have allowed me that space to be able to have some thoughts about what I want to do and how I want to challenge myself and, go forward in a more positive, healthy way, essentially. So I don't know what it will feel like if I stopped. And there's that slight discomfort I have at the moment that some cravings have come back in. But what I am going to do is I'm going to continue to drink my water. I'm going to continue to get my protein higher. And I am going to continue to exercise. And I'm going to see, am I still losing weight? Because that's the thing. If I'm losing weight on the 7.5 milligrams and I'm able to master my decision making around food, then I'm going to stay on the 7.5. If it starts to get a bit much and I'm thinking about food a lot more, I will try and go up to the 10 milligrams, but I'm not going to rush it. I'm not going to just jump into it. I am going to see how much further I've got in the 7.5 milligrams to see, am I able to exercise my willpower as well as having times of suppression? Because, we're going to titrate down again eventually. So it'll just be an interesting experiment. So I'm not worried. There is a little bit of in the back of my head just kind of going, is this it? But I think that's I was joking to my daughter last night, I'm a Virgo. So my go-to response is, it's a disaster, it's a catastrophe. And very often it isn't. So I'm aware of that response in myself. And so that little voice is there. But then also there's the big girl part of me that's going, no, let's just see where this goes. Let's see what happens. Don't overreact. Don't go crazy. Let's just see where we go from here. So I think that's what I'll end on for today. So if you are struggling with your current dose, you're thinking about going up, you're having cravings, you're not having as much suppression, give it a bit of time. Or even if you've just started, give it a bit of time. It can change from week to week, from day to day, from pen to pen, I've heard some people say. And some people say from injection site to injection site. So I do my stomach. I've done my stomach from pretty much the get-go. I had one pen I did in my arm, but I didn't really feel I benefited from it. So I went back to my stomach. But yeah, so if you're having all of these things, just reach out, speak to somebody else, speak to someone that's going through something similar. There's quite a lot of people on YouTube now that are documenting their journey. And between us all, you should be able to find somebody who's saying something similar to what you're experiencing, or leave something in the comments and let other people respond to you. This is the beauty of people documenting. It's that it normalizes what we're experiencing, to see that other people are going through this and other people are having the same things. For me, that's very normalizing. I'm like, oh, okay, it's not just me. I'm not the only one. So yeah, reach out to somebody, leave a comment. Ask for help. Just say, I'm really struggling with this. Can anyone give me their experience? No one's going to give you medical advice, and you shouldn't take anything that people say as medical advice, especially me, some lady on the internet. Um, yeah, just use their experience to help guide your experience, you know. But yeah, if you want medical advice, contact your provider, contact your regular GP or your primary care physician. You know, reach out to the people that have actually got medical experience if you're struggling with anything serious. But make sure you're drinking your water, you know. Don't get too constipated. It can really ruin a good week. You know, so make sure you're getting in your fiber and things like that. I haven't talked about fiber up until this point because, you know, I can't say I've really followed the fiber guidelines, but I've been okay except for the odd week here or there, you know. So anyway, I did say I was going to end it there and I haven't. So I am going to end it here. If you have got any comments, please do leave them down below. Like I said, I always try and answer as many comments as possible. I am slightly behind at the moment, but I am getting there. So yeah, do leave a comment. If you like this, please do give me a thumbs up, subscribe. And yeah, I will see you for the next update, which will be a weigh-in on Saturday, which will be the end of week 27. Where is this time going? All right. Thanks, everybody. Take care, and I'll see you again soon. Bye bye.